Hey, you busy? Mm-mm. Okay, let me run something past you real quick. It's been a little while since I gave you the typical rant, triggered by something that I saw on the interweb streets and just decided, you know what, I've had enough. But guess what? Wait no longer. The time is now. The time is here. Okay, great. Well, the song about it, here we go. Saw something on Instagram, and I've been kind of stewing on this. I'm not even gonna hold you. I didn't really know if I wanted to. No, that's a fib. Let me not. Let me make the devil a liar real quick. I knew that I wanted to speak on it. I just didn't know what direction I wanted to take. If I wanted to go full Kanye or, somewhere in the vicinity thereof. So I decided to do a nice little even kill and give you a little bit of both. Okay, right there, smack in the center, if you will. If you do not know by now all the conversations that we have had, I am one that is serious about personal growth. And personal growth absolutely requires there to be some form of unveiling, and honesty with yourself. So that means that anything that looks like it has the propensity to block self growth, getting to the next level, whatever that may look like, I am bulldog in the streets when it comes to exactly that. I do not do well with anything that tries to penetrate someone's peace and then try to promote strangulation of growth. I don't do well with that. That is a form of bondage. I know that Jesus did not do that awesome thing that he did on Calvary for us to be in any form of bondage. So when I see it, I detect it. Henceforth, why the rants come out, okay? And I especially despise it in relationships of any sort. If it has the SHIP at the end, I despise that there's some form of bondage there. Intimate relationships, family, friends, if you are relating to someone, that means the ship thereof should be that you are conjoining with someone in a level of closeness that creates intimacy. And so there should not be anything within that intimate relationship that should promote anything but peace and growth. Not perfection, progression. There are differences all over the place. We're not even going to try to get to the semantics thereof. But when I saw this particular clip of this famous YouTuber influencing couple by the name of DeVal and Condine, it really, really, really hurt my feelings. I don't know another way to say that. Because we already live in a culture that is very pro side chick, right? Like, it's not a no one's clutching their pearls to hear that such and such stepped out, or such and such put out the business of intimacy that goes on in the bedroom. Like, there was once a time, believe it or not, that you didn't want everyone to know what took place with your, reproductive organs. You didn't want people to know that. There was once a time that you did not want to be like, okay, and so I did whatever with whoever. There was once a time that class, okay, as the good Bishop Jay-Z said, you can go to class. I'm probably going to chop this up. I'm sorry. Thank you, Holy Spirit, because I'm good with the New York ear. You can go to school, but you can't buy class, huh? Let me say, listen, Holy Spirit, listen to Jay-Z, because I didn't remember that. And the remembrance comes from who? The Holy Spirit. So don't at me. So there was once a time that class was, it was something to gravitate for. We wanted our grandmothers to have that. We wanted, men wanted the mother of the children to have that. I was going to get muddled because everybody's grandmother, but you get what I'm trying to say. And so when people are brave enough to discuss their relationships, to discuss things that are maybe taboo or not, it kind of gives I really hope that when someone's discussing this, that they are encouraging people, because marriage is not the go-to. If people are doing that now for financial, economic reasons, they're doing it for other reasons outside of, I really want to build a legacy in God's covenant. I really want to make sure that the person that I am being yoked with is evenly yoked with me so that we can make a better scramble omelet, if you will. There is so much power in covenant, and it's just not taken seriously. You want the ring and you want the big wedding, and it's a bigger deal on who's in your wedding opposed to what's in your wedding. Who's in your marriage? You so worried about, let's run that back. You so worried about who's going to be a bridesmaid, but can we go ahead and make sure that you are the bridegroom to Christ, though? Like, can we make sure the dude who's getting ready to be covering over you, that he even knows how to cover, and he cannot cover you if he don't know Christ? Okay, great. Okay, I'm getting hype a little bit before time, and that's correct. However, this influencing couple by the name of DeValued and Kadeem went ahead and decided they wanted to talk about sex and marriage, okay? I'm going to keep it classy because I'm somebody's grandbaby. Clip is a little long, okay? I'm going to play as much as I see fit. It's a total of 6 minutes, but when I feel like I had enough and I can't take no more, I'm going to go ahead and pause it and come right back, but I couldn't go a millisecond longer without talking about this because we need to. So I'm going to play this, and when I come back, I may or may not have all my deodorant intact, but we're going to discuss this because I'm disgusted, okay? Let's go.
Based on our marriage laws and the contract we've signed with each other,
right,
to have sex with anybody else.
Right.
So these urges that come, I have to share them with the one person I decide to spend the rest of my life with.
Right.
So that brings me back to my soundbite.
Okay.
Right. I don't understand, and this is what we can discuss as a woman, because I don't want to say it's a man versus woman thing, but a lot of women do complain, oh, my husband's always on me. Why is he always on me? If sex is going to be a chore for you that you don't really want to do, why do women constantly push monogamy on men? If you know that you don't want to have to deal with him all the time just wanting you, why do you push monogamy on men?
Well, who's to say I pushed anything on anybody? Like,
well, we know that you pushed monogamy on me.
I pushed monogamy. I forced you to get married to me?
Time out. I didn't say you forced me to get married, but did you not say to me that you wanted to be engaged and you wanted to be married before you lived with me? You didn't say that?
I want $1 billion. That don't mean I'm going to get it. I can want something, but not...
You right now you're dodging the question.
Nobody pressed you to do it. Yes, is that something I wanted? Yes, it was. But
you didn't press me. Are you gonna lie now to the people because we talking about sex? You're gonna lie now to the people?
DeValued. Knowing
Kadeem, you didn't want monogamy?
Of course I did.
So then why are you avoiding the question?
That's not avoiding the question. I'm saying, does that mean because I want it and I requested that you were gonna deliver it? Like, nobody pressed you for that.
Time out. You just said you wanted it and requested it. Do you not hear yourself?
I can make a request. Is the request going to be granted?
Am I not granting you monogamy?
You are granting it to me.
So this is my question.
Look at your boy. Look at your boy.
This is my question. If you wanted monogamy,
okay,
why would you want monogamy if sex is a chore for you? That's the question. You're avoiding the question.
I'm not avoiding the question, but at first you said women or in general me specifically are pushing monogamy on somebody. Okay, yes, that's something that I wanted, but I didn't press you for it and be like, DeValued, I'm gonna hold a gun to your head to propose to me.
Time out.
Also, let me finish. Also, I don't feel like I was adequately prepared for marriage. And I've said that before, because if I knew that marriage and monogamy was going to involve me trying to meet you where you were at sexually for years to come, then I probably would have reevaluated it if I wanted to be monogamous anyway.
So that's fair, but we're not even talking about marriage. Let's even talk about dating, right?
Okay.
Two people are dating. Typically in society, who asks for exclusivity first, a woman or a man?
I would say a woman.
Thank you. That was my whole point. See, you were going all over the place. If women typically ask for exclusivity first, then when they get exclusivity, say, he always on me, he always want to have sex. Why are we asking men for exclusivity if we do not want to participate in sex at the same level as men? We have to think about what that does to a man, and I don't think that conversation is being had.
Okay, I agree, and that part I agree with. Yes, that women are typically the ones that will ask for the exclusivity. I get that, yes. But what I'm saying is, me as a woman, I don't think that I was necessarily prepared or in the mindset to know that. It's almost like once you get into it, then you're like, oh shoot, like this is what I'm going to have to keep up with.
I get that.
Us speaking as 36-year-old people know that now. Had I known that at 26,
I get that.
I would have to contend with that. Even in the dating realm, then it might have been something I would have reevaluated.
So now let's go back to what you asked me. You said to me you never pressured me to get married. In 2007, we were living together, right? You said you no longer wanted to live with me and shack up with me because you wanted to be my wife, not my girlfriend.
Right, because I wanted to know where the relationship was
going. That don't sound like pressure to you?
It sounds like me voicing where I see my life going. It sounds like me saying this is what I would like. You can decide to meet me there. If not, we can reevaluate what exactly we're doing.
Okay. Additionally,
would I call it pressure per se? Not necessarily pressure.
It is pressure. But you don't want to say it's pressure. What about being engaged?
You might have felt pressure.
What about being engaged?
There was no pressure behind it.
I said, we don't got to rush to get married. You said, I don't want to be engaged longer than a year. Is that not pressure?
That's me voicing my opinion about it.
Sounds like pressure to me. So you say you want to be engaged, I get engaged. You say you want to be married within a year. We do that. We get married, then you make it seem like sex is a chore to your husband. Once again, I ask the question, why do women who push forth monogamy on the man they're dating then get overwhelmed when that man who tries to provide that monogamy to you? Why do you get upset when we're trying to be what you want us to be? You don't want me to be with no one else, right? Right? I'm asking. This is a serious question.
Yes, absolutely.
You don't want me to be with no one else.
Absolutely.
So if I decide that all this testosterone I have, I want to give to you, why is this so overwhelming now? This is what you asked for.
Again, 26 and 27-year-old Kadeen was like, okay, here's the natural succession of life. You graduate, you're working, you meet somebody, you guys are dating. You want children.
Yes.
I want children.
Yes.
We don't want to wait too long or too late to have children,
Yes.
though now a lot of people are waiting until their 30s to have children.
And I understand why.
And we at that time felt like, well, we're doing everything in this natural succession that the forces that be have given us this timeline. However, I did not realize that after having children, after, career changes, all of the turbulences that we've been through in life, that was going to have a direct effect on my sex drive.
Bruh. Sorry to scream. Sorry to scream. Sorry to scream. Ooh, okay. So, I'm sorry. Number one, I'm just going to have to come with the Timbs on the New York way that I know how. First of all, how dare you? How dare you devalue this woman who literally has been married to you for 10 years, but has been with you almost 2 decades of her life. How dare you, on a platform such as this, make it seem like the most minute part of your marriage is what it's all based on? You mean to tell me after all she's given, she has delayed herself in her career to go ahead and let him pursue all the things he's acting? He's on BET shows. He's doing this, that, and third with Tyler Perry. He has some things in the works, so she had to sit back. She went ahead and popped out 3 of his boys. She went ahead and this woman went ahead and simultaneously raised your children and built this empire for you to then look at her, not look at how beautiful she is, not look at how intelligent she is, not look at the fact that she can match your fly when it comes to entrepreneurship, not the fact that y'all probably have the same parenting kind of, style, because y'all don't seem to have an issue with that, not the fact that she moved with you from New York to where y'all at now, which is LA, not the fact that she has literally, sometimes because of his career choice, she's gone ahead and said, okay, you know what? I know that I'm married, but I'm going to have to be home a lot because when he's on auditions and he's doing this, that, and third, you're not looking at any of that beauty. The one thing you decided to look at is how much she is or is not on her back for you. Are you kidding me, bruh? And so it has to come to a point that you're like, okay, let me start looking at stuff a little bit differently. let me start looking at the fact that, God could literally make it where, God forbid that something could happen to her and she is unable to have kids. I'm sorry, not have kids, to be able to be on her back or whatever position you like, sir. I literally do not respect the fact that this man looked at her, but he's not looking at her. He's looking through her. And that's why a lot of relationships fail. You are looking through her, sir. Why aren't you looking at what she has, the value that she's brought to your life? The disrespect thereof. Oh my gosh. The fact that he just said, like, did you just hear him say, I'm granting you monogamy? Okay, here's the thing. When somebody's talking, I hear what they're really trying to say. I don't care what you do, you can't fumigate feces for me. I smell it, okay? And so the fact that it was, okay, you wanted to get engaged, you wanted to get married, and I granted that to you, okay, and I'm granting you monogamy. Hold on, I'm sorry. What? Did you think that was a trade-off? And maybe his perception of marriage was, this person has to fulfill all my needs, particularly in this particular realm, sexually. You have to fill all of my needs because I decided, you the person that I decided I was going to spend my life with. Really, sir? You looked at her and said, if I give you this ring, you are enslaved to all of my needs? Really? Like, almost like if Jesus would have been like, so if I do this on Calvary, that means that you got to do exactly what I say all the time. Like, God don't even do that. So what makes you think that it was cool that to do that in an open forum? Like, why was that okay? So you granted, and then to ask her, and if you ever saw this clip, I hope that you did by this point, but if you ever saw this clip, as a woman, you can look in her face and see that this woman is uncomfortable. But what is he doing? He's making light of things. He's, is that pressure? He's making noises, like he's making fun of something that probably is really penetrating her soul. But you don't even see that because you're looking at penetrating another hole that doesn't allow you to see that. Something about a man that will look at you and say, you don't want me to have sex with other people, right? To have to ask that question after 10 years shows me that she has been emotionally bullied. Because no man in his right mind will ask a woman that is of value, because women show you exactly how you can approach her and what you can and cannot say to her, sir. There's just certain things that you just don't ask people, and you already know by the aura that they give off if they're strangers, the body language, what have you. But if you have been in the presence of someone for a decade plus, there's just certain things that shouldn't even have to be a question. So the hypotheticalness of that question was for the only reason why you asked that, sir, is to embarrass her, to bully her, to make her feel like, so I'm going to ask you this so that the carrot of, ooh, I better step my, my libido game up, so that you'll have in the back of your mind, if I don't keep fulfilling this need, then he could possibly go somewhere else. You think that that's arousing, sir? Do you really think that, it's almost like you want her to perform on look what I can do. Look, anything you could do, I could do. Like you want a competition. And I have heard their conversations before, because this is not the first time that they've brought it up. This is the first time that they brought it up this way. And so the fact that he has said before, you always need breaks or whatever the case may be, because he was saying, and I quote, I like animalistic sex. I like that. He was making these noises, really kind of like, barbaric, low key. And so she said, yeah, I know. And so that's why I need like a day or two I need some recouping time. And he was like, nah, I don't want that recouping time. I need that back to back. So you literally just told someone, this is what the equivalent to that is. You cooked a dish. Somebody told you, when you put that spice in it, it burns my mouth, and then I don't have any taste buds for a little bit, so I can't enjoy my food the next day or two. So that spice is too much for me. And you was like, nah, but I want to cook with this spice every day. And they're like, yeah, but that spice is too much for me. And so anyone who is caring will say, you know what? There's a gazillion different ways that I can season this particular dish. There is a way that I can season it and still serve it, and it fits everybody's palate. That's important, which is just two people at this time. You mean to tell me that she is telling you, sir, your miles per hour, K grade, when you thumping in these marital streets, is a little bit too much. So much so that it's preventing the frequency that you like. So I need to recoup. Someone who loves someone hears, I hear the problem. I'm going to come up with a resolve so that this resolution doesn't always have to be compromised, but it can be tweaked to the point that we can both enjoy. Let me give you an example. I love, when I was in these cheesy streets, I love anything Mexican. Give me the tortilla, the quesadilla, the taco, give me and by the way, large queso, please. Thanks. Like, that's how we getting down. My husband does not enjoy the Mexicana meals as much as I do. La comida que mexicana, okay? He doesn't, it's not his thing. We have gone to, my son loves it. My son was like, oh, I want to eat at my birthday. And we've eaten, and there's been times that my husband is like, just a water, please. There is nothing in my being that looks at everybody else at the table enjoying themselves except my husband, and that he'll just get something on the way back. So what we have started to do is, no. Even down to, I remember a vivid moment where my family and I, the children and I, we all got Chipotle. My husband was like, But what I started doing was, okay, whenever I'm going to eat something that is something I know that he doesn't like, I want to do it in the vicinity of a restaurant that he likes. So he loves Subways. He can eat that. You can get him a gift card for $1,000, and he probably would shed a tear low key. Like, it's that important. And so what I've done is, I don't have to not eat what I like, and he doesn't have to be in the ambiance of something he doesn't like. But what if we both made it where that both of our needs are met at the same time? That's what marriage is. Literally, in every area of your, whether it's finances, somebody's a spender, somebody's a saver. It's like, okay, no, you don't have to stop spending all of the money, and you don't have to save all of the money. So why don't we do a budget where I literally could budget and make sure that we're on track, but I also budgeted amount that you're able to spend that we both agree on. There is a way to do that in every area of your marriage, including sex. But I heard someone say this. I believe the author was Gay Hendricks, and he wrote the book The Big Leap. He literally said, sex issues is never about sex. And I didn't understand that until I heard this particular couple, this particular clip. I literally, as a psych major, because I love all things humanities and counseling and all of that, I literally see a woman who is being bullied until she looks exactly like the Stepford wife that he wanted. There is no way that you can look at someone that you love and say, well, why would you want to trap me if sex is a chore for you? When she's literally letting you know there's been so many psychological, physical, internal, external. There's all these different things that changed her libido, and yet you don't see any of that. You want her to do what she's supposed to do. I also heard them, the two of them, this particular couple, go on another podcast, and he was complaining and upset because she didn't cook breakfast in the morning. And he was like, I feel like, that's the least she can do, and I'm paying all the bill. So again, I totally get that this is not really a sex issue. This is, I gave you this ring knowing that I never really wanted to be monogamous. And so if my punishment is one woman for the rest of my life, then for the rest of your life, you're going to have to please me. That's what I literally hear. Because she shouldn't have to can't explain, she didn't feel adequately prepared for marriage. No. He wasn't adequately prepared for marriage. No, you were very much prepared for what you wanted. You just wasn't sexually yoked with him. But anything where that's a problem between two people who love Christ and love each other and love themselves is never a problem for long. It's never a problem for long. Because the goal that you're always trying to get to is you're continuously adjusting the dial to make it comfortable for everybody. Point blank, the period. She shouldn't have to explain, but when I was 26, maybe I would have, kind of second guess this, now that I'm 36. And don't you, sir, can I come here real quick? You really tried to bring up exclusivity as an issue? I was like, I'm sorry, make that make sense? So, if you didn't want to be married, what did he say? Because I can't. The premise was, you shouldn't have vouched for marriage if you knew that sex was going to be a chore, right? That's essentially what it was. So I guess he just decided that anytime, any place, the deacon is Janet Jackson, and anytime, don't care how she feels, how that looks, whatever, that she's just supposed to be his slave. And so I was like, man, how come we give that energy, or why is he giving that energy to his spouse when you couldn't give that energy to someone else? You couldn't go to the bank and say, listen, I know why y'all want this exclusivity. I don't even want to use that word. It makes my stomach. Why y'all want to be exclusive? Why you ask somebody that? Why would you want this commitment with me? I listen, I know you gave me the home loan or whatever, but like, if you was going to give me the home loan, then why also, why can't I go out to somebody else and get some loans from them too? It's like, there are the big ticket items in life. They want to know that you are committed to something with them and only them. Even jobs have a what's that thing that they have? It's that non-compete. Thank you. That non-compete thing that goes with jobs. Anything that is meaningful wants to know that you are with them and only them. You're not looking anywhere else, and that they can depend on you. And the dependency that they give you is reciprocated. And why do you think God said, listen, I don't want you to have no other gods before me? First and foremost, let's go ahead and do that. Because if I'm going to set you aside as my people, if you're going to be my children, if I'm going to give you, just give you my heart and put all this into you, I don't want you looking at nobody else to meet your need, to go out and pray and do anything else. Like, I want you to have no other gods before me. God can say that. God can say that. So he set the tone. The people who give you your car, if you didn't pay it cash, they can also say that. The people who issue you insurance, they can also tell you, if we're going to be insuring this car, these are the rules that you have to follow to do that. If you're going to be renting our particular home, you can't have this many dogs, this many cats, this, that, and the third. And there's some rules for renting my property. If you're going to work at this job, here are the rules. It is a drug-free workplace. There is no sexual harassment here. It's a nonviolent work environment. You are expected to be here at this time. If you have a second job, we need to be able to know what that is so we can make sure that there's nothing that's conflicting. And so there is everything in your life that is meaningful asks for exclusivity. I'm not even saying the word right. For you to be exclusive with them. Let's just go ahead and do that, right? But you don't go to the car people and be like, man, you know what? I'd rather, because sometimes you complain about putting gas in or paying that particular note, or once again, that particular maintenance thing comes up. You don't ever just be like, you know what? I should have just stuck to Uber. When it comes to cleaning up your house, you're not happy all the time about cleaning up and paying that particular electric bill or whatever utility thereof. You don't look at it like, you know what? It was better when I was just renting a room. You don't look at the more that you make, the more responsibilities you get, and start looking at it like, you know what? It was better when I was a student or when I was interning. So how dare he look at his wife, see that the responsibilities increased, that his maturity didn't follow, and look at her like, I should have just stayed single. Are you kidding me, bro? Like real talk, are you kidding me? And the only thing that I can think of was, I feel like we all need to go back to the Bible because, again, I'm always going to pull from that. Like Ephesians 5, when it talks about spirit guided relationships, wives and husbands in Ephesians 5, I read from the NLT version. So let's just go ahead with that because I'm irritated. So 5 and then verse 21. Matter of fact, I'm going to start from 22. For wives, nope, let's do 21. And further, submit to one another out of reverence for Christ. 22. For wives, this means submit to your husband as to the Lord. 23. For a husband is the head of his wife, as Christ is the head of the church. He is the Savior of his body, the church. 24. As the church submits to Christ, so you wives should submit to your husbands in everything. Now, I'm going to go ahead and stop there because a lot of Bible thumpers, great, and people who want to abuse the word use this just for the purpose of abusing. Just like some people use Christianity to have slaves and they abuse the word then, it's no different now. This is not saying that you are slaves to your husband. This is saying that his mission that God gave him to lead the family, or just if you don't have children yet, or to lead you, that you need to be under the mission. You need to be submissive to the mission that God gave him. Nothing about this is saying we need you to go ahead and submit yourselves to the point that you feel like a tool. God is not about abuse. So yeah, it says that you should submit to your husbands and everything, but I'm sorry. I think the the people are assuming that every husband loves their wife, that every husband wants to cater to their wife. And so this is for the men who are actually catering to their wives, the men who are actually wanting to be a better man, a better leader, a better man in Christ. So there's certain things that it's like, yeah. So when you're reading that, you like, see, you should be submitting to everything. Also understand that, but God wrote this for a man who goes to Christ when it comes to me. Because I'm sure if you would have went to Christ and said, okay, so there's a problem in the bedroom. You created sex. I don't care what Trey Songz said. Okay. So what do we do? Either decrease my libido, increase hers, or do something, but we're not going to let flesh get in the middle of covenant. God can do anything, but only a man that's wise enough to really know what the characteristics of marriage really contain can go ahead and decipher that. So continue. Verse 25. For husbands, this means love your wives, just as Christ loved the church. He gave up his life for her. 26, to make her holy and clean, washing by the cleansing of the word. Listen, I know something, right? And I didn't even read the rest of the verse. Okay, great. Let's jump down to 28. In the same way, husbands ought to love their wives as they love their own bodies. For a man who loves his wife actually shows love for himself. And you know why that's so tricky? Because loving your wife is different from how he loves his wife, and maybe how Troy loves his wife, and maybe one person over there. So loving your wife looks different. That's why you can't look at people and be like, oh, well, such and such does blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but he probably loves her in a way to manifest whatever it is that he would want. Because I'm going to go ahead and explain to you. God made women manifestors. You want kids, you go ahead and do what needs to be done. She manifests a seed until it is full blown. You want dinner, you go ahead and anything that a woman touch is catered and nurtured and manifested to be the vision that was spoken over her. And so the fact that even down to Adam, that he looked at Eve and was like, bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh, I shall call you Eve. Her name never changed because that's what he declared her to be. Now, I done read in the Bible where Sarai became Sarah, and I read in the Bible, there was some name changes along the way, but for whatever the reason, Eve, that name stuck. It was like, no, this is what your husband spoke over you, so this is who you are. You are the mother of all living things. It is so powerful when a man speaks over his wife. It is so powerful when a man can identify that, oh my gosh, your bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh, and he just doesn't see a big butt and a smile. That girl is poison. You see what I'm saying? There is a certain connection that comes with covenant. There is a delicacy, there's a sternness, but all of those particular drives and gears can only be downloaded through the Holy Spirit for people who are attached to Christ. I'm not saying that marriages that are not within the faith don't work, because they do in their own way. But for what God had in mind, this is exactly the blueprint. The blueprint is in his book. He didn't speak this just to make people confused and be like, okay, so I have no idea. No, there's a manual. I just got a new iPhone, right? And I am totally like, what do you do? And you know what was sold to me? Did you read the manual? And I was like, no, because I figured I had iPhones before. So this should just be like the other iPhones, right? No. Just like he's looking at the fact like, but she was once just somebody he was talking to and dating. Then she became somebody that, he was dating for long term. They had a title then, and then it became, okay, however they got to it, but they went ahead and got engaged. And then, okay, so then they became married. Okay, so now they went ahead and now they're parents. Okay, so now they're hitting the realm of entrepreneurship. Okay, and so now they have a social media influencing kind of thing, right? And so from what I just counted, their title changed 7 times, right? 7 times their title changed. And he expected to still treat her from the cut and paste from what he knew before. If I can't do that with my iPhone, if I can't treat new iPhone number X, whatever, the way I treated my iPhone 4, 5, 6, it is so different. It may look the same. It may have the same mechanics. There may be things about it that you're like, you know what, but it's still made from Apple. But you will make the mistake of thinking because it looks the same, then I can treat it the same, and you haven't grown enough to know that you need to go back to the manual. How you treated your girlfriend is not how you treat the mother of your children. How you treat you see, are you following what I'm saying? Like literally, I had to call someone to say, I can't get this thing to do a screenshot. I had to ask someone how to do that. Like I never had an iPhone before. And sometimes that could be humiliating. And sometimes that could feel and look a lot like, well, why don't you know? And sometimes you can go ahead and shift blame and just be like, well, Apple's acting up. Which, to be honest, today I did that. I was like, man, I'm just going to try Android because I want something that when I get it, it doesn't change. And I heard DeValued tell Kadeen that in another clip that I had. He literally told her, what I saw in you at 18, I fell in love with that. And as we have been together, I've had to let the idea of that woman that I fell in love with go. I want to go ahead and just say the issue is not sex. They have deep-rooted issues that I think it's just now coming to surface and is masked as intimacy. You're not cooking. You're not, because it seems to be the tone of what she's not doing enough. And I don't think that he's matured enough to know how to handle this new update. So my challenge to you is look at the area of your life that you could possibly be devalued, putting some devalue to. Look at the parts in your life that you're like, but I feel like I should know this. And it may be issues at your job where you're like, I've been working since I've been this old, and how come I'm not catching on to this? Or how come I feel, intimidated for any particular reason? And it's just a matter of, okay, you know what? It may be the same company. It may not. It may be the new supervisor, maybe the same one, whatever. But there's always something that should make you sharpen the skill of you, to sharpen the skill of whatever it is that is looming that makes you feel like, okay, this wasn't as comfortable as it was before. Because maybe it's not that you need to change. Maybe it's that you didn't update yourself on the changes and how to travel and navigate down that new path. Just because it's the same car doesn't mean you know this area. And just because you know this area, you may have to drive differently in a new car. There are so many components to it. You have to give yourself the chance. You may look at your relationship like, you don't have to have that 5-year itch in marriage. You don't have to have that, it's the cold moments in whatever the case may be. You don't have to have any of that. You literally need to have a come back to the table Jesus moment and literally be humble enough and unveiled enough to ask your significant other, who are you in this season? Hi, I'm such and such. Pleased to meet you. Have your favorite colors change? Have your hobbies change? Have your, all these different things. My husband and I went out the other day for his birthday, and he was like, I know what I want next year. And I was like, what? He said, I want golf lessons. This man has never talked about golf before. But you know what? Allow him to reintroduce himself. That's still my husband. But there's information that goes on in his mind, or it may pique his interest that I'm not privy to because I don't live in his cranium. And so when you love someone, the whole goal is I want you to grow with me so that you don't have to say that whole thing about, we just grew apart. No, you stop growing together, which means you have to communicate and speak when something is changing. Do you see what I'm saying? It may be something in your friendships that you're like, I don't feel as close to such and such as I used to. Okay, then it's either time to have a difficult conversation or it's time to have a difficult cutoff. Because we can't just go ahead and make things black and white anymore in certain aspects. It can't be, my day ones can't go with me. And it also can't be, I'm going to hold on to my day ones until I can't hold on no more. Ebbing and flowing through life and allowing God to navigate you the way that you need to be navigated is the secret sauce to all things awesome. Because we don't know how long to hold on to something or when to let go. We don't know any of that. And if we try to hold on to old mindsets, old way of thinking, we're going to miss it. Even the Bible says that God wouldn't put new wine in old wine skin. Why not, God? It was already wine in that skin patch. Why wouldn't you just do like a refill? Isn't that what we do in modern times when we go to restaurants or we're doing fast food? Sometimes they'll say, hey, free refill, whatever. So we take whatever was, we had, we drink it, and then we want to refill it. And God is like, but I can't do that. Because if I'm going to do something new, the whole thing got to be new. And if I'm going to identify something old, then it means that it cannot be cross-contaminated with the new mindset. Do you see what I'm saying? Listen, you know what these conversations are. They are life-provoking conversations that not everybody's going to have with you, okay? Because I am your favorite homegirl, okay, great? And I need you to go ahead and make sure that when you see this phone ringing with my name and all that stuff, and it did, however your ringtone goes, I need you to answer because we're going to make each other better. Do you understand that? DeValued. What a pity. Anyway, before I go on part 2 rant, let me just go ahead and go. So I'm going to go ahead and let you let me go. Okay? All right. Later.